So Vivo has added one more smartphone in their color changing smartphone fleet, which is the V series. But unfortunately, they have skipped the color changing option in this year's smartphone series, that is the Vivo V29. And in this video, we're gonna check if it's an upgrade or a downgrade. Huge shout out to Master Planet of Smartphone and Gadgets for providing this amazing V29 for this review. More about them later in this video, and you can obviously check them out from the links in the description below after watching the video. So the V29 has come with a price tag which is considered to be hefty in our country, and this is obviously a mid-range smartphone, and they have a lot of things going on. First, let's talk about the design. You'd fall in love with the design because this is a very slim and sleek phone, and metal build, glass back, glass front, obviously. Although they haven't mentioned the protection of the display, but I guess this is a good one, I mean decent one. And the back panel is frosted glass like most other premium smartphones, but it is unfortunate they have skipped the color changing option in this year. Although it's not a functional one, but this was kind of cool, I guess. They have a number of colors available for this smartphone, but in Bangladesh, I guess the Himalayan blue and this space black color is available, and to be honest, this also looks pretty good. But that color, that Himalayan blue, which I don't have my hands on, but that also looks pretty good. On the front, we have a pretty good looking 6.78 inch curved AMOLED panel. It has 1 million colors and comes with the support of HDR10 plus, which is pretty sweet, I guess. And it's a high refresh rate, I mean 120 Hz refresh rate display, so experience is pretty smooth. There's literally no complaints about this display because it's enough bright, the colors are pretty rich, and they looks pretty awesome. And it's a curved display, like, you know, some companies are skipping, but Vivo is skipping this, and it's kind of looks sick to me. This phone is overall round, and it feels pretty good on hand even without any case. There is not that much of a catchy edges, I mean there is almost no catchy edges, and feels pretty solid on hand. One thing is pretty appreciable is that this is a very slim phone, and again this is pretty lightweight, like 186 gram. Anything below 200 gram, I guess it's quite good on hand, and weight distribution was so good, so you would have a good experience with this phone on your hand. On the back panel, you can see this pretty huge housing for the three cameras and the special thing which we'll talk about in a minute, and another flash. This is also a flash, obviously, technically. On the bottom of the phone, we can see the SIM tray, which is a dual SIM tray, which is pretty good. Next to that is the microphone USB-C, which is USB 2, unfortunately. It supports OTG, and next to is the single firing speaker, which is pretty unfortunate for this price tag. On the right side, we have the volume rockers and a power button. On the top, we have the secondary noise cancellation microphone, and there is pretty beautifully written professional portrait. On the left side, there is nothing, and on the front, we have a punch hole camera, which is not the smallest one, but it's okay. One sweet thing is that this thing comes with the IP68 water and dust resistance, which means you can submerge this phone 1.5 meter underwater without any worries. So underwater videos are on. One thing I really like about Vivo is that they comes with a complete package. Like inside the box, you will get the charger, a clear case, and the cable, obviously, which is pretty sweet of Vivo. No other company is doing that. I guess other companies should do this as well. Now for the storage option, Vivo said, well, anything you like. You can get any kind of storage configuration for this phone, and there's 8GB RAM option and 12GB RAM option, and you can go crazy, whatever you want. Everything is available for this phone. Unfortunately but true is that this thing comes with UFS 2.2 storage, which is not the slowest, but in 2024, like it should come with UFS 3 or any latest one. For the connectivity, this is a 5G smartphone, and I guess Vivo is the only other company next to Samsung who is launching 5G phones officially, because most other companies tend to drop out a 4G version of their phone, but Vivo has dropped out their official one, like the 5G one, which is pretty appreciated. For 4G or 5G connectivity, they have adequate bands. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, at the bottom of the display there is a optical fingerprint reader, which you can customize according to yourself. I mean the unlock animations, which is pretty sweet of Vivo. In my testing, the fingerprint reader was quite consistent and accurate. This thing is powered by Qualcomm Snapdragon 778G, which is a 5G chipset, and this is based on 6nm threads, and in my day-to-day experience, the experience was quite smooth. We have done obviously benchmark testing. The Geekbench score was pretty respectable, and you can see how it performs in the Geekbench. We have also done CPU throttling test, and we have done it outdoors in chaotic environment and a lot of interference, but it held up well. It didn't throttle at all. It was pretty consistent. I saw a dip down there, but it was not that major of an issue. So you can say say the thermals are pretty good on this phone. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the cameras. So Vivo has offered us 3 cameras on the rear and 1 single camera on the front. But the main sensor here is the 50 megapixel, which comes with OIS, which is pretty sweet, and it should come with OIS in this price tag. The second one is the ultra wide camera, which is an 8 megapixel. I wish it were 12 megapixel, but it's okay. The third one is a 2 megapixel depth sensor, which is of kind of no use. But what is interesting is the Aura ring or Aura light they are calling, and this is a better version of the flash you use in your phone. I don't think many other people uses flash on their smartphone in taking photos in dark side because they looks horrible. And our smartphone cameras are upgraded a lot, and we actually don't need flash. But this is something different because it's not your typical flash, so it creates a very soft looking light on your face. You'll feel more comfortable taking photos with your flash. I mean the Aura ring. This was present the V27 series, but they have added the capability of changing the temperature of the light, which is pretty sweet. You can take warmer photos, even you can turn it in red if you want to be crazy, and you can choose the normal temperature also. Vivo's camera UI was kind of cluttery and I didn't used to like it, but this time around Vivo has kind of corrected a lot of things, but there is still some room for improvements. Like if you switch in the front camera, the default mode is the portrait selfie, which not many people like me personally. I don't use portrait mode at all, so that's kind of bummer for me. And if you go to the video option, the default mode is 1080p 30. You have to manually switch to 4K every time you go there, which is kind of annoying because it doesn't remember your settings. So that's there. The camera UI is quite more refined now, and there is a lot of other options. You can get the astrophoto mode here. There's a good number of filters built into this phone, and there are some other interesting options like the micro cinema. Let me see. Okay, micro movie mode, where you can make some short vlogs or something as you want. So let's talk about the photo and video samples. I have taken a lot of photos with this smartphone, and in my opinion this phone really performed well. The sharpness, the texture, the details, and the colors. I really like Vivo's colors this time around, because previously they tend to kind of play with the colors. They were not that much consistent or natural, but this time around Vivo has corrected it, and I would say the color on this smartphone is unmatched with any other phone apart from Samsung and Pixel. So that's a thumbs up. The dynamic range on the smartphone was pretty good, even if not the best, but does take good photos and you won't be disappointed with the photos. For the portrait mode photos, they have different options to choose from how the bokeh will look, but the edge detection is not that accurate, even though it has a dedicated depth sensing camera. The ultra wide camera is just 8 megapixels, so don't expect too much from it. The sharpness was just okay, but the color consistency was there, and I do prefer what they did with the ultra wide camera. I wish it were 12 megapixel or anything better than that. For the nighttime shots, the OIS does helps here, and there is a dedicated night mode where you can take better nighttime shots, which will take like a few seconds to process the image to give you a cleaner look. Nighttime shots are not the sharpest, but it is better than most other Chinese smartphones. Now let's talk about the video. Like I mentioned earlier, by default it stays at 1080p 30, but you have to manually switch to 4K, and the image stabilization on this phone is solid. No complaints about that. In daytime the videos are good, not the best, but in nighttime things changes, and I really don't like the nighttime videos because they are too much desaturated. The colors are not great. There is a lot of noise. So for the nighttime videos, I don't prefer this one at all. You can have a look at some video samples coming out of this.
Hello, gathering home.
For the battery side, this thing has a 4600 milliamps battery, which is kind of disappointing, I would say, because 5000 milliamps is standard for all types of smartphone from budget to flagship. So 4600 may not seem a big deal, but it doesn't sound good. And with the 120 Hz refresh rate, this thing drains battery quite fast. But the good news is that this thing comes with a 80-watt charger, which comes in the box, which is pretty sweet, and you can really top it up pretty faster. The overall experience should be good because you can charge it pretty quick, and the battery lasts is just okay. For the software experience, I prefer FunTouch OS more than ever. It has come with FunTouch OS 13 based on Android 13, which is not the latest, but it will get the 14th update pretty soon. And in my experience, the FunTouch OS is pretty smooth, and although it does come with some bloatware, but you can get rid of that easily. The UI pretty smooth and the animations are pretty nice. There is pretty cool customization options. One thing I forgot to mention that you can change the refresh rate options, like there is smart switch 60 Hz and 120 Hz, but I have seen that if you choose 120 Hz, this thing actually changes the refresh rate based on your activity. In smart switch, this thing goes between 90 Hz and 60 Hz, so you are not getting that full fluid experience out there. In the camera, it doesn't stays at 120 Hz, it goes down to 60 Hz. So yeah, that's you should have known. So my recommended setting is 120 Hz because it switches between 60, 90 and 120. It doesn't goes below 60. It's good. It will save you some battery out there. We guys decided to set the price tag at 56,000 takas, which converts to this much amount of dollars in Bangladesh, obviously. And this is a pretty hefty price tag, and you can get obviously better deals than this one from other brands. But what Vivo has done here is pretty appreciable. But there is a downgrade, like the maximum video shooting capacity is 4K 30 FPS, but in previous model there was 4K 60 FPS option. We are not getting this, and there is no stereo speaker, which is kind of unfortunate. Even though the single firing speaker is loud enough, it has good quality audio, but not having stereo speaker is kind of bad for this price tag. But overall, I would say that the V29 is a downgrade from the previous generation, but it still holds up. If you're a Vivo fan, I think this is a good deal, but not the best. And huge thanks to Master Planet of Smartphone and Gadgets for providing this phone. Master is a group of smartphone shop located at the 3rd floor of Satakan complex in Kumilla. No matter which smartphone you need, they have all of the brands covered under the same roof. To get a best deal on your next smartphone, visit Master Planet of Smartphone and Gadgets. So this was the video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you soon with some new interesting videos. Till then, stay good, and keep doing incredible things. And yes, of course, keep watching Incredible Victor.